And we're just super excited here over at FC. We have really spent a lot of time just diving into setting our goals and, coming into the new year, this whole big thing on setting resolutions and goals and all that's great, right? But until you get about 90 days in, until they all drop off. Well, today we're going to talk about how to properly be a leader in 2025. And part of being a leader is goal setting and how that looks and how that's going to work. So coming into this in 2025, for your business, you're going to have to get super clear on what your goals are, what you're going to focus in on. And I'm going to say it this way. I wrote it out for you. I'm going to read this to you, and it'll make sense. When you're setting a goal, it needs to be broken down in 3 different categories. It needs to be number 1, it needs to be personal. We always need to start with our personal goals. Yes, Josh, why do we start with our personal goals? Well, we can't get our personal life right. We're not going to get our professional life right. Too many entrepreneurs and go-getters just like me, and I continue to fall into the trap from time to time till my amazing wife puts me back on track, and some others I love in my life. They say, no, listen, you need to change this, change that in your personal life, which will change the business life. If you go after your business life first, you're just going to drain yourself. You're going to empty yourself out, and you're not going to be worth anything to your team, to your customers, and ultimately you're not going to scale. Every year as business owners, we want to grow 100%. That's the goal. Grow your business 100% per year. Well, you're going to have to be super focused. You're going to have the clear game plan, and not just you having the game plan, but being a proper leader to lead leaders who lead others. Lead leaders who lead others. You want to be a leader of leaders. If you want to do that, you're going to have to be super clear on what you want to do in your life, much less in 2025. So when breaking out goals, we have personal, next is professional, and then financial. If you break them out into these 3 categories, try to find 3 different things for each category of things that you're trying to achieve. I keep mine on the wall right over here under a glowing sign that says, don't quit. And it has all my goals out. In 2024, I didn't achieve all my goals that I set, but I got close to all of them. And some of them were set way too high. Some were set too low. It is important that throughout the year that we reflect and look at our goals and make adjustments and changes. Why? Why are we setting goals as a company? Because we're trying to go somewhere. If we don't set the target, we can't set the mark. If we don't set the mark, we can't set direction. If we don't set the direction, how do we know where we're to go, much less everybody else? So, destiny, I want to read this off to you here. Destiny is incomplete without a dream. A dream is incomplete without goals. And goals are incomplete without action. And action is incomplete without desire. And desire is incomplete without hunger. And hunger is incomplete without purpose. And lastly, purpose is incomplete without passion. Now that's a lot. After this, and we send out the retake of all this, you can go back and watch this again, but take that in for a second, because when we're setting a goal, all these layers start breaking out. And if we don't recognize each one of these sections, that really it starts with passion starts with passion and ends with destiny. If we don't realize that, hey, we're just trying to get to our destiny and we're just trying to set a goal, if there's no action behind that goal, the goal's no good. And also, if the goal isn't measurable, if we can't track it, then it's never going to happen, because you cannot grow what you don't track, and what you don't track, you can't measure. So if we do these realistically, but yet stretching ourselves, we're going to have the best 2025 that ever existed. And I am so excited. I'm excited for every new year. But if you're coming into this new year and you're doubting yourself, you need to stop. You need to stop, because you have what it takes. Every one of you out there that I'm looking at in the sound of my voice and that can see me right now, you have what it takes to change the hardest things that you need to change this year. And there's some things that need to go onto this 2025 goal list that scare the heck out of you. It needs to scare you to death. It needs to be maybe some personal things on these personal goals, some things that you've struggled with for years. they need to go on this list. That dies. If there's anything else in your personal life that is keeping you from your full potential, let's cut them off in 2025, no matter how hard it is. Listen, when you plant a tree, the easiest time to remove that tree is after the seed is planted, right? Just take the seed right out of the ground. Well, we wait a little while, it goes up to be a little sapling, and we can probably still pull it out with our hands. Well, eventually it gets to the point where it grows so much roots that it is a process almost impossible to take down, and then eventually impossible with our hands. If you let a problem go, it's going to grow roots. And these roots will just grow deeper and deeper over the years in you, sucking nutrients away from your destiny and clouding your vision of what you want to achieve. And eventually you get to a point, your personal life's so messed up that you can't even see where you want to go. Your creativity within your mind is no longer there because it's clouded by other people's judgment and casting upon you, and most importantly, your judgment upon yourself. So let's stop, being our worst critic and start being our best friend. Because I said it last time before if you can remember that far back, that we ourselves, we need to know ourselves better than anybody else. And so many times we know other people better than we know ourselves because we scare ourselves. There's things that happen in the past, and we're scared to address those because if we address it, then we have to change. And we have to change that. That means that it takes action, and that can be scary. And I understand that. But this is your year. This is our year, guys, to where we change. And it needs to start in the spirit, which transfers to the mind, which then is going to transfer to the outer body, the physical things that we can see. Kingdoms are built within and revealed without. It is time for you to build your kingdom in 2025. And there is a difference between a kingdom and this is a principality. A kingdom is somewhere where kings come together and they collaborate, building armies together, building an armada and a team of ships headed in one direction that defend and have each other's back. So you need to find those people that you can do life with within 2025 and not just be the king on your own throne, not seeing your weak points. So if we get this right and we get our surroundings right and we get our goals down, now we can realistically set 2025 and we can actually achieve our destiny by setting realistic, measurable goals. So I encourage you, do that, and it'll be the best year that we ever had. Now, going into next here, life doesn't end when you die. It doesn't. Life does not end when you die. It's when you lose sight of your dreams. Life doesn't begin when you're born. It begins when you step into your passion. So many of men never lived. There's so many people with beating hearts that are just waiting to die. And they never even had a chance to experience life. Everybody's living life and going through the motions. Very few people ever get to experience life because they never step into their passion. It's time, my friends, that we step into our passion, our calling, and our purpose. You were called for such a time as this, before the foundations of the earth were ever founded, that you were set and appointed to fulfill a destiny that is way bigger than you, because your uniqueness is bigger than you can ever imagine. It's time that we think outside of our own minds. What does that mean? And how is that possible? You could think outside your own minds when you step into the world of titans of the past. Those people who have went before us and set and paved the way. They're called pacemakers, and not the things you put in your heart, but those who have come and set the pace before us, that we would take the baton and we would run the race, and that their ceilings would be our floors, that their endpoints would be our starting points. Your family and your situations and your collectiveness has brought you to this point, and everything that you've put into your life is here. So if you want to change the way that you think, you're going to have to get some different direction outside of your thinking of what you're thinking now. It's time more than ever that we humble ourselves, put the knee down, and we look up to that sky, and we we ask for guidance, we ask for help, and we look for others. I always say there's different points of leadership. There's linear and there's horizontal. I truly believe that's very important that we pray to a higher being, and that God, he has the answers for us, and they're there, and he's waiting for us to call upon him so they can be revealed. And also, it's going to be horizontal, looking for those around us that can lead us, because behind every great leader is a leader. Behind every great leader is a leader. And every one of us are leaders, whether we're leading a team of hundreds and thousands and millions, or we're leading ourselves or a family. So let's start living and experiencing life in 2025, guys. And realistically, it takes just as much energy to tread 10 feet of water as it does 1,000 feet of water. I'm going to say that again. Some of us feel like we're neck deep in water. Well, guess what? Good for you for at least being in the water. Some people are relaxing on the beach because some people are on the beach, some people are ankle deep, some people are knee deep, and some people are treading water. Well, at least you're the one that's treading water. But guess what? You can tread water just as easy as 10 feet as you can as in 1,000 feet. The only difference is the volume of water that you're treading in. So if you're going to have a problem, if you're going to put yourself into a situation, if you're going to set a goal, make it a big one and jump in the deep end. Stop playing it safe. Now, I didn't say be reckless. Calculate judgment. You want to come out to this thing with a strategy. You want to do your research. You want to make sure when you're putting yourself in a situation that is calculated risk, but take risk in 2025, because success comes through failure. And those who have succeeded the most have failed the most, because success comes through failure. Fail early, fail often, fail forward. It's time we stop being afraid of failure and start embracing the ability and strength that's within us, that the resilience that we would face and the diversity that we will possess and that's going to stand in front of us is not something that's going to be a barrier, but it's going to be a training ground to break through the next level. When you have a problem and you're consistently resisting that problem, or you're in the gym, it's the same thing. It's just as important in the gym to lift weights as outside the gym to take the proper nutrition. Now, stay with me on this track, guys. I know I'm going pretty quick, but I only have a certain amount of time with you guys. And I'm excited, as you can tell. I've done a lot of thinking, mindset, getting my mind right, and how we can best do 2025. And it's this, that we need to start running into the burning building and putting fires out. We need to start resisting that resilience, resisting the failure, and going into it, resist. But then on the outside of it, making sure we're taking the proper time to get the correct nutrition within our brain from our surroundings. Because ultimately, your thinking determines your patterns of your action, right? Well, hey, guess what? What determines your thinking is your surroundings. What you surround yourself with. You can create a set of pattern of thinking by those whom you hang out with and your surroundings and your settings. So by doing that, we get into a position to where failure and facing and pushing against that barrier is no longer a bad thing. Our mindset changes and say, okay, game on. I'm going to resist this thing until I build the strength to overcome this thing. This thing was not put in my life to be a barrier, but a training ground. And thank God this happened to me, because I'm stronger for it. Without it, I wouldn't be who I am today. That is a victor mentality, not a victim. And staying under the weight of the thing, comfortable on the beach, when all you have to do is tread enough water and stay in shape long enough and resist long enough to get to the other side. And the other side, we don't know what it is. We don't know what the other side is, because we can think all we want, that this is our goals, this is where we're going. But how many have changed their 10-year vision, their 5-year vision? How many times has it changed for you? Well, it's going to change. And the scary time and the scary point can be, I don't know what's going to be on the other end of this thing. Am I going to make it? How far am I going to make it? That's the wrong question. It's not how far can you go? It's how long can you go? Because it's not about trying to see the end. It's about making the process and the journey the destination. Because if we can do that and we surround ourselves with the correct people, the correct vision, and instill within us a sense of discipline that would transfer and touch every part of our lives, rip out the negative roots in our lives so it stops sucking the energy away from the positivity that we could have, and channel that energy all into one positive direction, then we're not chasing an end goal. We are passionately living and experiencing life in the moment of every single millisecond that would pass by, because it's a gift. So if you're looking to arrive, get to a point where you're experiencing life. That is arrival, guys. That's arrival. And again, that's living, and not many of men have lived. So if we can get to that point, it's not how far we can go, it's how long we can keep going and increasing. And I'll say it like this too, that it's not what you're pursuing that's going to keep you going and keep you growing. It's not going to necessarily be your passion. It's not necessarily going to be your vision. It's going to be your hunger. Sick people lose their appetite and they die. Hungry people actually increase more of an appetite, because the more things that you eat, if you eat a healthy diet, the more that you eat, the more your metabolism starts to process, and the more that you begin to eat. So if you lose your hunger, you're on the way to death. So we want to stay hungry, and you need to get more hungry. The only way you can do that is to find your passion and truly step into that area. Now, this is all personal, guys. This is all personal. Now, once we get all of this right, and I'm far from it, but I'm sitting on shoulders of giants and getting the same view that they have right now, I'm getting to see the cool thing too about sitting on the shoulders of giants is you can look down and see your life and see see everything that's missing, and having those people pointed out. Then what you can do is go to your business and actually start building a business. You can start building a career. And by doing that, you will then excel yourself above everybody else. Now, the competition is between you and you. Your focus should be on improving yourself and being the best that you can be. And it's not, guys, it's not about doing your best. It's about meeting your potential. Those are two very different things. Have you ever heard somebody say, I just did my best? Just do your best. Well, guess what? That is not good enough. Don't just do your best. Your best is a limiting belief, and it caps and puts a handicap in the position of which you're at now, because your best is only the experience you have existed and you actually lived in the moment. It's your highest point of success in your mind. That's your best. But you know what? You can be more. You can do better. You can be much more. So how do we do that? And that's increasing our ability to believe and increasing our ability to achieve. So by doing that, now stepping into our business and taking this into the business world, when we do this, that's going to transfer into setting a fire under your team. Because when fire is inflamed and engulfs something, when it gets to a certain point, it starts jumping onto other things. People want to be around people who are achieving and succeeding. If you want to see success, be the success you want to see. If you want to see a change, be the change that you want to see. So as we set forth in 2025 and we set forth into our businesses, we want to set a goal that is going to match with where we want to go. And you need to ask yourself, where do you want to go? Financially, how much do you want to make this year? And the goal ultimately should be right off the bat, 100% more than you did last year. And it's achievable. You can do it. I know many of people this year that have done it. And I know many people this year that hasn't done it. So that's number one. Where do you want to be financially? Number two, in your businesses this year, I encourage you as a leader, leaders are very detail oriented. That makes a really good leader. It's not the only attribute, it's one of them. And it's having a plan and being able to convey that plan in a simple, broken down process. If you were able to tell your team member to go to this, to a training link and click on it and play instructional videos and instructions on how to do a certain task, and you didn't have to do a single thing by explaining, that would be a process or a system in your business. You should be able to replace every part of you through processes and systems. Now, in my company, we're still building processes and systems. That never ends, right? But as a leader, we need to continually to improve those processes and systems in our business to where our business can scale outside of us and grow without us being in it. That's a true business. Anything other than that is a glorified job. You're your own employee. So we want to grow ourselves outside of us and have an entrepreneur mindset, not a business owner mindset. A business owner's mindset is he sits into his business and he's vested in his business, and no decisions are made, big, high decisions, without his involvement. People aren't hired without his involvement. Things don't happen financially without his involvement. That's not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is you set and scale businesses, you get it running without you, set systems and processes, and then move to the next business and do the next thing and increase and grow and change people's lives. So I encourage you with that to get super clear on why. Why are we doing what we're doing in 2025? Why are you in business? Your why, your what, and your how. We talked about that several months ago. You first must establish the why, because people ask the wrong questions in the wrong sequence. They ask what, they ask how, but they don't ask why. So if you want the answer to your what, you first have to ask the correct questions. And many times in life, you don't have the right answers because you're not asking the right questions. Now, how do you ask the right questions? It goes back to what we were talking to earlier. It's getting your ability to believe bigger than you can now, to get a bigger sense of a vision and expanding your mind to think higher than you're thinking now. And then questions come from that. Questions are a good thing. Not knowing everything is healthy. But once you have that question, now that intelligent question, you can go and ask it and get an intelligent answer. And there comes the change. So you can see how this all builds on top of each other. So if anything, let's ask better questions and get better answers in 2025. Now, I could go on, and I have just limited time to be with you guys here tonight. So I want to end with this, and then I have an exciting announcement here for you guys that don't let today's failures, don't let last year's failures be this year's reason why you don't succeed. Don't let yesterday's failures limit you from tomorrow's successes. Don't let last year's failures limit you from this year's successes. Don't let what happened in the past grow a root and limit you to what you can do in the future. Chop it off, get rid of it, till the soil, make sure it's good, feed it, plant it, seed it, invest in it, let it grow. And leaders are leaders, guys. We are leaders way before we have a title. Don't chase a title. If you're chasing a title, then you're chasing a position of pride. You're chasing a position of authority before you have achieved the growth to obtain that thing. And be careful that you chase something that you're not ready for, because the thing that you're chasing could be the death of you if you're not ready. I'm not going to put my 10-year-old behind the wheel of my car. Why? Because they are not ready for that. You give them 4, 5, 6 years, they will be ready for the car. There's nothing wrong with the car. It's their experience that's wrong. So there's different things we need to go through, though we might not like it in the time, but be willing to go through the school of life and invest into yourself and pass the test. So 2025, guys, it's going to be amazing. What we're doing over here at FC, because of the high demand we have been getting of people wanting to help them individually, what we have done is we're going to open up live meetings, in-person meetings, guys, coming to you here at Sarasota. It's all the information we sent out to everybody by a link, but it's going to be held at the Hampton Inn on Cattleman. We have a very nice conference room there with room to grow. And the focus on this group, there's limited seats as well. There's going to be a good amount of people that's going to be able to sit in for sure. But make sure that you RSVP as soon as you can, because once the spots are taken, they are taken. Again, it's going to be every other week, starting this coming Tuesday, the 14th, and then next Tuesday, the 28th. And you'll have the itinerary and the schedule we'll send out to you guys in that link. But I'm super excited. So the focus is going to be on business growth. We'll be going through the FC system. What you're seeing here on camera, we'll be doing live, but in more of a classroom type setting. These meetings will be limited to about an hour long, and we'll also be inviting in titans in the industry, in the in-home service industry. Some of these will be out of state coming in and teaching us the things that we need to know, sitting on their shoulders of giants so we can see their view and teaching us. And then also, if you guys want to increase your lead flow, this is it. We have a whole network system to where you can input and share leads with collaborating businesses that would come together. So, for example, if you service pools, right, and you have a roofer, if that roofer's out there and that somebody says something about needing a pool guy, you can refer a lead over. And by that networking, increasing also lead flow. It's going to be very effective. I'm excited to share this with you. Again, all the information is going to be sent out to you guys. So I want to see you guys there. And as soon as you can, RSVP onto the link. And I'm excited to see you guys there. This will be the last time that we'll be doing a podcast like this for the foreknown future. We are going to be recording these events of the live speakers and then posting them on the YouTube channel. But you have to be a member to access these videos. Many of you already are. Obviously, if you're watching, if you're new, welcome. And yes, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. So goodbye for now. And I look forward to seeing you in person this coming Tuesday, the 14th, starting at 7 a.m. And we go to 8:15 a.m. every other Tuesday. Have a blessed one.